Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Mysterious Podcast. I hope you all are well. Today's story is an true based haunted story. Someone experienced entity. I hope you like a story. Story 1. When I was 19 I had an experience that I could not explain. I went to bed and I started getting scared because the family photos frame in my room started making this fluttering noise as if there was wind being blown behind them, not crazy wind but subtle. I stayed there scared stiff until I said to myself, I am not staying in here, and went to lay down in the family room where my father and mother were at. They were known to be pranksters, but there is no possibility that they had anything to do with that. Besides, they were laying down to sleep. I told my mother and father what happened and they stayed up with me because I was scared and couldn't go to sleep. Later, one of my little sister Bangy saw a figure in the hallway right outside my bedroom door. I thought I saw it too. Shadwo to say I did not get any sleep that night, and when morning came I had to start getting ready for college. I had hamsters at the time. One was smaller than the other because I just got him, the little one, and the other one I had for a while. They were in a wired cage. Kind of like something similar to a bird cage but not. I had the hamsters separated in the middle of the cage, little one on top and bigger one on the bottom. It was separated by a wire floor, the same wire that the cage was built of. The gaps between the wire were probably about a less apart from each other. There is a point to why I am explaining dimensions of the cage separating the two hamsters. When I went to feed them, the little hamster's head was missing, no blood, no skull to be found. The other hamster was fine. I thought he could have done it, but there was no way he could have pulled the hamster's skull through the wire floor, but I tried to rationalize it and started looking for the skull in the bottom part of the cage, and it was nowhere to be found. Another incident was when I was 21 years old and living in a different house. I started waking up every once in a while between the hours of 1 o'clock in the morning and having the urge to look in a specific location out of window. The location where the shadow person, man and lady, was standing. It started in the corner of the bedroom and then eventually got closer. I moved again when I was 22 years old into an apartment, and one night I was awakened at the same time as usual by another boy shadow, but this time it was right at the foot of the bed. I was sleeping in the middle of the bed because my son wanted to sleep with us that night. I said to the figure, thinking it was someone boy, being half awake and only the moonlight showing through the blinds, "What are you doing?" Then I turned over to feel my husband right next to me. At this moment I turned around and sat up, actually not afraid, and as soon as I did that it darted off towards the bedroom door, disappearing halfway to the bedroom door. I jumped up and went out to see if someone was in the house, but there wasn't anything. A couple of nights later, around the same time in the a.m., I was read book in our bedroom. I felt hot, so I went to turn the AC down. When I opened the door and turned on the hall light, I heard the song playing, "It's a Small World." I went towards the sound, baffled because we did not have that song in our house from any toy or anything. When I found the source of where it was coming from, I was really freaked out because about a year before that, I had bought a ceramic clown that was supposed to play music. What song I don't know because I bought it broken. It was a ceramic clown that had a head that rocked back and forth, and there was a long ceramic piece that went in the top of the body, and it had a magnet at the end which activated the mechanics inside for the song to play. It was battery operated, and because it was broken I did not have batteries in it. I could not get it to stop playing, so I took the head out. Another time was when I was staying the night at friend's house and we were sleeping in the same bed. I was sleeping on my stomach as usual, and I was woken up by something grabbing me under my neck, starting to lift me, which they did barely off the bed, before I woke up. When I turned around I saw this big, black sheet looking thing hovering over the bed, more so above friend. When I started to wake up my friend, it disappeared. The next day I go to market, buy some blanek and others material home use and get lunch and go to sleep, means rest but can't sleep. I thought this was the worst yet of all the experiences, so I was thinking maybe when I woke up possibly I was just seeing things because I was half awake. Later that day my friend and I went outside to smoke a cigarette and they mentioned what they saw, and it was exactly the same thing I saw. That really upset me because now I knew it was real and it was different than before and it physically touched me. I started falling asleep with ET.V. on after that because I didn't want to sleep in the dark, and if I was in the same bed as someone I didn't want to fall asleep last. The next incident happened not too long after this one. It usually happened once a year but it started getting more frequent. Michael friend stayed the night at my house and had to be at work the next morning. I stayed asleep that morning while he was at work and my son was at her dad's for the weekend, so I was by myself in the house. While I was sleeping I heard something towards the bedroom door. I thought it was friend coming home because he got off at noon. I felt a kneeling at the opposite end of the bed and then it was like someone crawling up the bed and then spooning me, but it didn't feel like a solid form, like a solid person. I opened my eyes, saw that it was only around 8 a.m. and realized that it probably wasn't my friend, so I rolled over right into whatever was spooning me and I went into the state of partial unconsciousness, so it seemed. It felt like death, like I was dying, and I knew that it had to do with this being. Maybe I was feeling what it felt like or what it was itself. I don't know if I was feeling what it went through or what, but it seemed like a long fight to shake it off, which I finally did. One time I was at a friend's house to stay over. The house they were renting was an old farmhouse that stood off the ground. It was early in the morning, around 1 a.m., and we were in the kitchen making something to drink. I started cracking a tray of ice and I heard, behind me, something say, "Dancy," and someone hold my back arm. There were other times in that house I heard people in the back of the house talking, pretty much only a female voice, but when I went back there it would stop. The cat would at the walls. I really felt threatened in that house, more so a bad feeling, bad vibe. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Story 2. That's a girl thing I guess, because guys would just sleep on the floor, but I consider this girl the sister I never had. So I'm in the bed, preparing for what I thought was yet another sleepless night. When I fell asleep. Normally, I don't have the dreams of my spirit or of anything else connected to the abnormal, ghosts, etc. when I'm at her house. But, that night I did, and it was an awful sort of dream, the sort you can't remember when you wake up. Save for bits and pieces, all you get is that horrible fear, and paranoia. But, in this dream, something grabbed me. And, at the exact time, my friend grabbed me in my sleep. That would not be so weird. Maybe even sort of funny in a way, but she has never once in all the years I've known her, and there's been a lot, ever been the sort of sleeper to do that. She mostly snores, and doesn't bother the person next to her, unless they bother her. Which usually means her kicking me back after I kicked her for the 10th time that night. So, I scream, and jump up, out of the bed running to the door, because I know something is there, and it wants to kill me. Later. The rational part of my mind tells me I ran because I thought that it already got my friend, and was going to get me too. But that was what I wanted myself to believe, not what I really thought, because what I really thought was the thing from my dream. It was there, it was in her, and it was going to use her to hurt me. Thank you for the listening. Friends, how did you like the story? I liked it. Please like it and share, or subscribe the channel. Stay tuned to our channel to hear more such stories. Thank you very much for listening to the story.